Howdy, howdy. How's everybody doing? It's been a while. It's been a little bit since we've been here in video land. But yeah, today we're going to be talking a little bit about the Winterbold and the Winterbold AD outfit, because it's been a bit since I've made anything. I kind of got COVID back in December, and I've been kind of brain fogged ever since. But I'm coming out of it finally, and you probably noticed if you watched the snake video that I seemed a little bit out of it, I guess. But anyway. Hi, how's everybody doing? Oh man, we're going to be talking about the Winterbold AfterDark outfit today because it's done. It's done. It's ready. I've done an install test on it multiple times. I've had other people test it, and it looks pretty dang good. The Winterbold has been around for a little while and doesn't really have any clothing that's not winter based, right? The Winterbold, you expect winter-based clothing, right? As you can see, I'm already wearing the clothing as far as my VRM goes, and it fits very well. And yeah, so we're going to be doing the install today. So if you're here, you probably found the Winterbold clothing out on Gumroad or on Itch. Jinxie coming soon once they get their payment system worked out. But yeah, we're going to be doing the install today. So thank you for getting here. Yeah, should we take a look at some of the things we're going to need to do to make this work for you guys? A few things first. At the moment, at the time of this recording, which is 14th of April, there has been a little bit of a compromise issue with Poyomi. The GitHub itself, it has not been compromised. There has been no pull request or any such updates done to any of the files on GitHub. So if you are nervous about getting them anywhere else besides the repo, GitHub is the resource to do. You have been requested though by the maker of Poyomi themselves to not download the version 10 right now, because they're not quite sure what has happened to the files yet, because it is handled through their Patreon. So it's not suggested right now to use it unless you have had it downloaded on your PC before the 12th of April 26. Okay, so with that said, let's take a look at the Winterbold, shall we? So the Winterbold, it's a really good avatar. It's pretty. I was going to say simple, but it's not really simple. It does the job, right? As you can see, mine's already set up, and it's got the custom paint job on it and everything. But that's where you pretty much want to start when you start working with this project. But there's a few things that we have to talk about when we come to prerequisites for this clothing set. A few things that you have to have. You have to have your avatar set up, and I do recommend getting uploaded at least once to VRChat before you do anything else as far as installing clothing, because you want to make sure that you have your materials and everything else is doing exactly what you want it to on your avatar itself. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the prerequisites. So let's go back here to Creator Companion so we can take a look at what we need. For this clothing set to work for you as far as a drag and drop install goes, you will need the following. You will need your avatar to be set up in VRChat SDK 3.9 or newer, as of December last year. Anything that is being made with the SDK of under 3.9 will not upload new avatars. You'll be able to modify the avatars that have that are using 3.8 and earlier, but you will not be able to upload new. So keep that in mind. And that's these two here. You will need Poyomi Shader 9.2.69 or newer, and you will need VRC Fury 1.1269, nice, or newer. These two here are the drag and drop pieces. These will, this is the shader that I use to make the clothing set, and this is the one that this is the VRC Fury that was in use whenever I built this avatar the first time. So other niceties to have will be Gogo Loco, whatever's newest. Audio Link, whatever's newest. I don't have Audio Link enabled on the clothing, but you can figure that out for yourself. AV3 Emulator, and Gesture Manager Emulator. These two here will give you a test environment inside Unity, so you don't have to upload to VRChat to make sure that your avatar is working properly. So you can just run this guy inside Unity, and you can check to see if everything's toggling on and off, because you get a gearbox. We'll see it later. And this one down here, Thrive's Avatar Performance Tool. This here is really cool because it gives you an idea of how much VRAM your avatar is taking up before you actually upload it. It's really kind of cool, but this avatar, the way I have it built, is actually staying under 130, which is kind of surprising. This one, because I have a lot of shit on it. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the Unity project now. So now that you have all that stuff installed, you have your avatar uploaded at least once, right? You've uploaded your avatar at least once. Now we're ready to start talking about the AfterDark clothing. So however you got there, thank you for purchasing it. If you haven't yet and you want to see the install video, welcome to the video. This is the primary install instruction because I could either do it a very long text document or I could do it this way. And most people are visual learners, so at least from my understanding. So let's go ahead and take a look at the clothing set. So once you've gotten your avatar uploaded to VR chat at least once, then you will go over to the Gumroad page or the itch page, and you will get a folder that looks similar to this. There'll be a couple more things in here, but you will get this file here, the Winterbold 80 file, right? This is a Unity package. Grab this file. You want to drop it onto the assets folder in your Unity project. I'm not going to do that because it's already installed in mine. So once you drop it in there, you'll get a pop-up on the window on the screen that says, hey, you're importing stuff. Are you sure? Import everything. It's going to put, after it's done doing some crunchy stuff and making your PC freak the fuck out for a few minutes, I know that sounds like a horrible thing, but it's kind of true. You'll get a new folder. That's the Winterbold 80 folder. And you'll also get something stuffed into the Poyomi folder under textures. There's no, how Poyomi automatically generates the gradients that I use for the matte capping. It puts something in here and there's no way for me to really move it around without causing a whole bunch of issues. So it just gets stuffed in that textures folder. Pretty simple. All right, so now that you have all that in there, then we can go ahead and take a look at how to actually apply this to the avatar, because it's actually pretty simple. It's really, really simple. Once you have this file down here, the Winterbold folder, you'll see a whole bunch of files. You won't see this one, but you'll see all of these down here. Except for the optimized for now. Complicated. Anyway, so there's two different prefabs and two different FBXs down here. One is the jiggle physics, one is without. I went ahead this time around and did the prefab without because some of us don't need them and will never will, so why have the physics on there? But they install the same way. So we're going to be working specifically with the jiggle physics version today. So you'll see that this is the FBX and this is the prefab. You want to grab this prefab and you want to drop it onto the base of the avatar. When you drop it onto the base of the avatar, it'll be on the same level as your armature and your body. Just like that, okay? You are technically now ready to upload. However, you could, but you probably want to adjust the colors a little bit. And you probably want to see what this looks like anyway. So let me close that window and get it out of my way. If you want to adjust the colors, let's go ahead and take a look and see how we can go about doing that at the moment. So once it's on the avatar, which is already applied, right, because we're going to be using VRC Fury to attach this thing in the long run, go into the Winterbold 80 folder and select this latex material. This material is the one that's automatically defaultly applied to the avatar's clothing set, the AfterDark clothing. So we can go ahead and take a look and see how this works. So if you want to, let me move the window over a little bit. There we go. If you wanted to, say, change this from being default black, right? And you want it to be, I don't know, bright red. You just change the color in alpha to whatever color you feel. Anywhere on this spectrum. It was pretty good with a little bit of green. Greenish blue, just like that. Right? That's how that works. There's also another material hidden inside this one. It's a color shift. I've been a big fan of the chromatic look lately when it comes to doing the latex, so I've added that into almost every single avatar AfterDark clothing set I've done in the past year at this point. So if you want to take a look at what that looks like, you scroll down to the decal 0 and you can see this is animated, turn the alpha to 1 and scroll down to matte cap 0 and turn its intensity to 1. And now you can see what this chromatic shift looks like. It's like those high-end chromatic cars, right? You have that chromatic shift from the bright green to the bright purple and back and forth in between them. If you want to change these colors, you see this color for let's scroll back up here to the base color first. Scroll back up here to decal 0. You can change this color here. Let's go, let's see. Let's go with this dark blue, a darkish blue. You want to change this inside chromatic. You scroll down to the matte cap and you change that color here. This changes to something like that. Splashy, right? All right. So now that we have those colors adjusted, go ahead and turn this intensity back down to 0 and turn the alpha on the decal back down to 0. And so this is your latex look, right? Scroll all the way down to where you have your metallic, your reflection and specular. It used to be called metallics, but it's called reflection and specular now. You can scroll in a little bit, and you kind of see how you have this kind of satiny metal look, right? That's because this is set to 0.7 and 0.7. If you want this to look like chromized metal, you grab the metallic, turn it all the way up, grab the smoothest and turn it all the way up. And now you have that bright chromatic finish, right? Get that bright chromatic finish. Okay? Let's say you prefer it to be the other way around. You want it to look like straight up old school rubber. Grab the metallic, turn it all the way down. And now you have that rubbery old school latex look with a little tiny bit of that matte cap poking through from the color shift. That's the way that's built. So, hands. So, but for now, I kind of like the satiny look. So we're going to shift it back. Just like that. And you have that kind of satiny rubber look, right? Kind of like the look. Right? It does have an emission map built into it. So if we scroll down to the emissions, it does have the mask already in it. So I'm going to crank this intensity up so we can see what it looks like. Only the things that are not underneath the cuffing is going to glow, and it's going to glow whatever the undercolor is. So if you leave this as black, it's not going to glow, right? It's only going to, because black does not glow. If you want to force it to be a different color than what's underneath it, you can turn off use base colors, change its color to whatever you want, right? But do realize that in some light situations, that will really fuck with the way your clothing is going to look, because that should not... Yeah, so be careful with it. I do recommend just leaving it the way it was, to use base colors, just so you don't have any abhorrent colors pouring through on your avatar. So let me just undo those changes real quick. And you always want to make sure that before you leave, you want your emission strength to be 0, because there's a toggle in the gear wheel for this when you're playing in game. Go all the way back up to your emission, your matte cap. Make sure the intensity is set to 0, and your alpha on your decal is set to 0. Once you have this clothing looking like you want, scroll all the way down, all the way up, and lock in Optimize Shader. We always lock our Optimize Shaders as we go because it takes up to 20% longer when you lock them through the VRC Fury or the SDK, VRChat SDK, per material. So it does take a while. So it's just faster in the long run to go ahead and lock them before you leave. So we're going to go lock this one since we got it the way we want. Click. All right. So that one's locked in, but now we have other materials to look at. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the list. So we're going to scroll down, and I always have 5 looks, right? So we're going to go into the fishnets first. Go into the fishnets folder. Find the one that says AD mats, right? You're going to grab this fishnet material, and you're going to drop it onto the 5 parts of the avatar's clothing set, just so we can see what it looks like. It always starts as the default red, but you can change it. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how you can go about doing that. Select the material. And now we can change that by adjusting this color in alpha. Go ahead and select this thing here, and we can adjust it to whatever feels good. Something like that. Feels good. Feels good. It has a custom built reflection map, so I really don't recommend messing with it too much. And I spent a lot of time making sure that this isn't going to look very Mori patterned at a distance, but it does a pretty good job. Once you get out to about 30 meters, it just starts to have a few issues, but who's going to be that far from you, right? Scroll all the way down to the metallic and specular if you want to adjust the amount of metallics that's on it, because it is chromized metal metallic, right? If you want to adjust it and make it look more like latex, you take the metallics and turn it down. But it does affect everything that's on the avatar's clothing set, so take that into consideration. I recommend leaving it all the way up to 1. It does have an emission map. It's emitting whatever is underneath. So like I said before, if you want to change it, you can switch this off and do that, but you can see what's going to glow. I have it cranked way up. Whenever you turn the emissions on across all of them, across all the outfit colors, they all will emit at 0.5, and trust me, it's quite bright. Even if you think 0.5 is not very bright, it's very bright in most situations when you're in VR. Once you get this material looking like you want it to, go ahead and scroll all the way back up. Make sure you have the emission strength to 0. Scroll all the way back up and lock in Optimize Shader. All right. Next one to take a look at is going to be the stripes, because everybody's got to be snugly and warm, right? Grab the stripes material and drop it onto the 5 parts of the avatar. You can see I'm having a little bit of a problem trying to get it onto some of these. If you go into the Winterbold jiggle, this AD thing here, you click the first one and shift click the last one. So it's all 5 parts are selected. Grab this material and drop it into the element 0. It'll change them all at once. Or you can drop them into the ones that are just not changing. So go ahead and select the material and go ahead and change this color to whatever you feel is necessary for your Winterbold. You're getting lots of blues and greens, blues and pinks. So let's go with something bright. Let's go with something bright. What a dark military green. Not bad, right? This particular material does not have a metallic map at all because it's meant to look smooth and snuggly, right? So it doesn't have any reflection or specular in it. If you need it for something, it's down here in the bottom, but I doubt you will. It does have an emission, and since it is emitting whatever's underneath it and as a hand-painted map underneath it, it does not have the mask in there, but if you need it, it's down here. And it's doing the same thing that the other ones are, so you can turn this on so you can see what it's doing. It's only going to emit the colors that are underneath it. If you want to force it to do something else, if you turn off use base color, you can see everything's turning white. You have to use this mask in here to fix that. So you grab that mask, drop it into the mask section. It'll put the black stripes into the emission map, and then you can adjust your colors. By leaving it out, I have reduced that mask by 8 megabytes. So it's just, even if it's compressed, it'll still be 8 megabytes. So keep that in mind. So we're just going to leave it as use base colors, just like that. Make sure you set your emission strength back down to 0. Scroll once you get it looking the way you want to, all the way up. Lock in optimize shader. Click. Once that one's locked, go ahead and take a look at the Thembo Hooters, right? Because everybody likes a Thembo, just the way it is. Go into the AD mats folder, grab the material, and drop it onto the 5 parts of the avatar's outfit. Now, the reason why we're dropping them in here is because we want to be able to see what they look like, right? While we're adjusting them. This particular one is a hand-painted map and a hand-painted mask. So I don't recommend messing with the colors on it too much, but if you absolutely have to, you can go into the Substance Painter file and make a new one, or you can do a color adjust. And then hue shift, or wait for it to catch up. There we go. And you can use this hue shift to kind of adjust the color a little bit. It will only stay in the pastels, but you can kind of do a little bit of a color shift here if you want to. Like I said, it's a hand-painted map. So I don't recommend moving it around too much. And whatever you do here, you're going to have to do it down in the emissions because it's a hand-painted emission map as well. So let's turn this back down to 0. Hue shift, color adjust off. Scroll all the way down to the emission map. And as you can see, it's going to be the stripes that are going to emit in darkness, as well as any of the texting that's on the white part of the avatar, or the clothing set. So I'm going to leave that down. If you adjusted the color up there using the color shift, you will have to go into the emission map and do the same thing. So color adjust and then hue shift. Okay, just keep that in mind. You'll have to, otherwise it won't match. Okay. Once you've got it looking like you want to, scroll all the way back up and lock in optimize shader. Click. Okay, now that one's locked in. With every avatar that I've made the AfterDark clothing for in the past year, I've been trying to figure out a specific or a special material specifically for them. For this one, it took me a while to figure out what I was going to do because, Winterbold. It's a kobold, right? Oh yeah, that's right, D&D. How about some hide armor? That seems like something I would wear. Go into the hide armor folder, grab the hide armor material, and you're going to drop it onto the 5 parts of the avatar. Oops, I missed. 5 parts of the avatar. Like that. And sometimes, like I said before, it can be a little bit difficult to get it on there, so select that piece, drop it into the element 0, just like that. So this is another hand-painted one. Hand-painted, I used a lot of Substance Painter, but it looks like hide armor. If you want to adjust its color, I really do recommend using the Substance Painter file for it, but you can, if you have to, use the color adjust and the hue shift, and you can kind of slide it around a little bit, but it will always be kind of a hidey looking color, right? If you want to do that. It can also mess with the They're really hard to see because you got so much fluff on this guy, but it will also mess with the metallics that are on it. You'll get to see it a little bit more whenever we actually start getting this avatar to animate. I'm going to turn the hue shift back down to 0, turn the hue shift off, color off. It has a custom metallic map because it has parts and pieces on it that are shiny. So you want to make sure that you don't mess with this too much because it is hand painted. Once you get it looking like you want to, go down here to hide and lock in the optimized shader. All right. So now we have to make sure that we turn it back into the original prefab, right? We have to put it back to the way it was. Otherwise, it won't be able to animate in the gear wheel to do the material swaps. So go back up to the Winterbold AD folder, grab your latex material, and drop it back onto the avatar's clothing in all 5 pieces, just like that. Okay, so now it's back to its starting point. Now, let's go ahead and say that we're going to upload it. Go ahead and fire it up. You can go to your SDK and fire it off to VRC if you want to. But since we have AV3 emulator and Gesture Manager emulator installed already, we can go ahead and take a look at it here in Unity so we don't have to do that. So turn off any of the other avatars that are in scene. I have my real one is turned off right now. And go to your Gesture Manager. If you do not have one in the scene, it's up under Tools, Gesture Manager Emulator. It'll drop this prefab in one of your scenes. Doesn't matter what scene it's in, as long as it's not nested inside an avatar. Select that Gesture Manager Emulator and go ahead and click Enter Play Mode. It's going to go through and it's going to pull all the mesh off of this avatar. It's going to put them into a very special container and then shove them onto the original avatar skeleton along with any extra bones that are going to be in place and tie them all in place. It does the hard work for you, believe me. Otherwise, you'd have to be doing this in Blender. And I know how much you guys love doing that. So, but once it's done, we can have a look at how this is going to react in VR chat. So you see, here's my Winterbold. He's doing his idle wag, right? Because what do Winterbolds do? Idly wag. But yes, this is how my Winterbold will show up if I hit the reset button in my gear wheel. But now we can go ahead and take a look at this clothing set. Go into expressions, AfterDark, arm, crop top, leg, tail, thong, bulge. And I did incorporate a reset for the gravity. So if it doesn't scale, if it doesn't reset properly, there's something wrong with the bones that didn't carry across in VRC Fury properly. And you can even scale it up a little bit if you need to, because sometimes you gotta be a little more present than others. Just saying. But once you have all that on there, go ahead and take a look at the chromatic, speedy, stripes, cozy, fishnets, who's ready for the club, Thembo, who wants wings, and the hide armor. And all these are available in the gear wheel, so you can change them on the fly. You don't have to worry about having to upload a separate one for each one. The emissions are very subtle on the hide armor because it's just the metallics on the dragon. That's the way I set it up. It's very, very subtle on the dragon armor, but on the rest of them, it's pretty dang bright. The reason why this is a toggle in here is because the metals and the metallics can look very plasticky in some situations if you have the emissions on. So sometimes it's by choice to turn them off. It's all about the look, right? So, but that is the Kobold, the Winterbold's AfterDark clothing outfit. So if you are interested in that or own it, thank you very much for purchasing it. I do get a little bit better cut if you purchase from Itch, but sometimes you don't have much of a choice to get it from Gumroad. So I hope you guys have some fun with this outfit. It was really fun to work on. And yeah, if you have any more questions, do let me know. You can pretty much find me on Blue Sky and a few other places. But yeah, I think up next is the update to the Zariza Raptor clothing. It's almost done. It is. So, but anyway, guys, it's been fun. I'll see you on the next one. And until then, stay wiggly.